So this is a guide to milkless monuments that uses 2 render distance, and I'll start by an example and then followed by a quick guide, and lastly go into an in-depth explanation to why this works. So first of all, you can see as soon as I see the monument, I turn my render distance down to 2 chunks, and that is important because you want to unload the Elder Guardians, which will prevent them from giving you a mining fatigue debuff. And next I try to approach the monument from the side that has the gold blocks. You don't have to be... you can come in from the side a little bit, like I do here. That's completely fine. And yeah, after that you can just raid the monument using any method you prefer. I'm using T-Wag's method here, but any method is fine. I'll link his method below. And if this is done correctly, you will get about a 90% success rate of raiding the monument, I would say. And there are ways to improve it, be even more reliable, such as lowering the render distance as soon as you see the monument, just like I did. So yeah, I've successfully raided the monument without a milk bucket, and I can probably stay here for as long as I want without being mining fatigued. Now, if you want to execute this strategy as reliably as possible, there are 2 things you need to keep in mind. The first thing is that you do not cross this yellow border. And the reason for that is, even with 2 render distance, there's a possibility that you will load an Elder Guardian by passing this border. And how you find this border is by enabling chunk borders with F3 plus G. And this works because the monument always spawns at the same chunk coordinates every time. As you can see, the center is exactly between 4 chunks. And this chunk border is approximately 1 chunk away from the monument. So as you can see here, the monument ends roughly here, and you cannot enter this chunk. No, this is fine. And this goes for all the border around here, around the sides and the front. So as you can see, on the front here there's also 1 chunk that you cannot enter, and on this side as well. The only safe part of the monument, luckily, is the side that has the gold blocks. And the second thing you'd want to do, if you want to be as reliable as possible, is to unload the monument as soon as you see it. Yeah, I'll go into more detail why in the explanation, but basically, as soon as you see a monument, you should reduce your render distance so that you cannot see it anymore. So the reason this works is that if the Elder Guardian is farther than 2 chunks away, it is not ticked by the server. So as you can see, the Elder Guardian is just sitting there frozen right now. It is doing some animations, but that's purely client side. And as soon as I pass this chunk border, it will be loaded and start moving. And that also means it can give us mining fatigue. So that is why standing here on this part generally will unload all the guardians. So when the monument generates, it spawns 3 Elder Guardians, indicated by red wool. And I want to begin by taking a look at the side guardians. And as you can see, they have quite a lot of room to move around. If you take a look at the chunks, there are 4 possible chunks it can be in. And if we want to guarantee that this guardian is unloaded, we have to be 2 chunks away from this chunk. And that is why the border is constructed as it is. When we go to the gold blocks, however, this part is simply too far away from the side guardians to matter. Like, the side guardians are not a concern at all when we're standing here. The only guardian we need to worry about is the center one. And as you can see, this one is a lot more confined. It spawns on one of these two wool blocks, which is important because it's right on a chunk boundary. If the Guardian would have spawned one block closer to the gold blocks, this strategy wouldn't work, because it would pass the chunk boundary and therefore be loaded when we are standing here. So we're lucky that this strategy even exists. However, the Guardian might randomly decide to pass the chunk boundary, as you can see. And yeah, if this happens, it is too close. It's too close to get unloaded, which means we can still get debuffed. So we don't want the Guardian to swim towards the gold blocks, because that means we can still get debuffed. And the way to prevent this is to unload the monument as soon as we see it. Because if you unload the monument, the Guardian will be frozen on its spawn location, which is one of these two blocks again. And that is out of range, which is good. So yeah. Also, even if the center Guardian is loaded when you're raiding the gold blocks, there's still a high chance that you will succeed, because you only have to worry about one Guardian as opposed to three. In a normal Milkless run, there are 3 Guardians that can debuff you, but if you use 2 render distance, there can only be 1 at most. So even in the worst case scenario, your chances of successfully raiding the monument without milk go up by a lot. Finally, I want to give a shout out to Jojo. He was close to discovering this strategy before me, and he helped me figure out some stuff.